Hello, friends. Not every great mobile game is about speed. Sometimes the best ones are the games that slow things down, make every move matter, and reward smart decisions instead of fast fingers. Today, we're going through our list of 10 of the best turn based mobile games to play in 2026. Let's get into it. Starting off at number 10, we have the Battle of Polytopia. This is one of the easiest games on the list to jump into, but that does not mean it is shallow. In fact, that is exactly why so many people like it. Polytopia takes the big ideas from 4X strategy games like expansion, city growth, research, and map control, and squeezes them into quick mobile sessions that are actually easy to play. What makes it work so well is how clean and focused everything feels. The maps are compact, the turns move quickly, and the whole game has that dangerous just one more round energy. It is also one of the better picks here if you want flexibility. You can play solo, pass the phone around, or go online if you want more competition. So if you want a turn-based strategy game that is simple to learn, easy to fit into your day, and rewards smart decision-making, Polytopia is a great place to start. At number 9, we have Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is one of the biggest names in digital card games, and even after all these years, it is still one of the easiest to pick up and enjoy. The matches are fast, the presentation is polished, and it has that Blizzard style that makes even simple actions feel satisfying. What helps Hearthstone stay relevant is the sheer amount of content behind it. New cards, new metas, live events, different formats, battlegrounds, solo content. There is always something going on. And because games are usually pretty quick, it works really well on mobile when you just want to jump in for a few matches. Now, of course, like most live card games, it comes with the usual frustrations too. Keeping up with decks can be expensive or time-consuming if you want to stay competitive. But even with that, Hearthstone still earns its place because it remains one of the most polished and addictive turn-based card games you can play on a phone. At number 8, we have Persona 5, The Phantom X. If you already love Persona, then this one is pretty easy to understand. It takes that stylish turn-based combat, the cool presentation, the character-driven progression, and the daily life feel of the series, then reshapes it into a mobile-friendly live service game. What makes it appealing is the style. Persona games have always had personality, and Phantom X still has that. The menus look great, the combat feels flashy, and the game has enough of that familiar Persona identity to make fans curious right away. That said, this is still a gacha game. So while it does have the look and feel that many players want, you do have to go in knowing that progression and pacing are built around a live service structure. Still, if you want a stylish, turn-based mobile RPG and you like the Persona formula, this is one of the more interesting options out there. At number 7, we have Reverse 1999. This one really stands out because of its atmosphere. A lot of mobile RPGs can start blending together, but Reverse 1999 feels different right away. The art direction, the strange period-inspired setting, the voice work, and the overall tone give it a much stronger identity than most games in the genre. The combat also has a nice twist. Instead of just pressing through the same basic turn loop, you are combining cards and managing skill chains in a way that keeps battles more interesting. It is still approachable, but it gives you enough to think about that fights do not feel completely automatic. So if you want a turn-based mobile RPG that feels stylish, story-heavy, and a little more unusual than the usual fantasy gacha formula, Reverse 1999 is a very solid pick. At number 6, we have Dragonstride, Legacy Reborn, formerly known as Dragon Hair, Silent Gods. This one mixes hero collecting, long-term progression, and party building into a fantasy RPG that tries to feel a bit more involved than the usual mobile gacha game. A big part of the appeal is building a 5-hero team, figuring out which roles fit together, and testing different lineups to see what works best. The combat itself is not just mindless autoplay. Before the fight starts, you set up your formation and choose who will target what. Then once the battle begins, your heroes attack on their own, while the more important choice is when to use ultimate abilities manually, or whether to let auto spellcasting handle easier fights. So if you like character collecting, squad building, and battles that still give you some input without asking you to control everything, Dragonstride is a solid option. Breaking into the top 5, we have Slay the Spire. This one is a little different from a lot of the list because it is not a live service game built around events, banners, or online systems. It is a premium roguelike deck builder, and for many players, that alone makes it one of the most appealing games here. What makes Slay the Spire so good is how much depth it gets out of very simple actions. Every fight is about managing your hand, thinking ahead, and building a deck that can survive the long run. You are constantly making choices about risk, reward, pathing, relics, and card synergy, and a single bad decision can come back to hurt you much later. It is also one of the best games on this list for offline play, which gives it a huge advantage if you want something you can play almost anywhere without worrying much about servers or connection issues. So if you like solo strategy games with tons of replay value, Slay the Spire is absolutely one of the strongest turn-based mobile games you can play. At number 4, we have Legends of Runeterra. This is one of the most dynamic and interactive digital card games on mobile. A lot of card games can feel like one player takes a long turn while the other just watches. Runeterra does a much better job of making both players feel involved because the back and forth structure keeps tension high almost every round. Another big reason people like this game so much is its economy. Compared to many card games, it felt much fairer about giving players access to cards and deck building options. That made it easier to experiment, easier to build strong decks, and easier to stay interested without feeling like you have to spend a fortune to keep up. It also helps that it gives you both PvP and a strong single-player mode through Path of Champions. So whether you want competitive duels or something more relaxed, Legends of Runeterra got you covered. If you like card games and want one with strong mechanics and less frustration than usual, this one still deserves a lot of respect. At number 3, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. If you want the closest thing to full modern Yu-Gi-Oh! On mobile, this is one of the best options out there. Master Duel uses the real rule set, supports cross-platform play, and gives you access to more than 10,000 cards. So it feels much closer to the actual game than a simplified mobile version. What makes it stand out is just how deep and competitive it is. But at the same time, this is not really the slower Yu-Gi-Oh! That a lot of older players remember. It is fast-paced and with modern summoning mechanics, long combo turns, and constant interactions. The game feels much quicker and more demanding than the old-school style many people grew up with. That is also what makes it harder for new players to get into. Even though Master Duel has tutorials and a solo mode made to teach the basics, the huge card pool, different deck types, and the need to understand the current metas can still make it feel intimidating at first. So if you enjoy deep card games, do not mind a steeper learning curve, and want a turn-based mobile game with a serious competitive edge, Master Duel is one of the best picks you can make. At number 2, we have Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus. This one takes the Warhammer universe and turns it into quick, sharp, turn-based battles that feel great on mobile. The fights are built around terrain, positioning, map control, and character abilities, so it is not just about having strong units, but about using them in the right spots at the right time. What also helps is how readable it all feels on a phone. The battles are compact, the turns move fast, and the UI is built to give you useful information without making the screen feel cluttered, which makes it much easier to enjoy than a lot of heavier strategy games on mobile. You also get campaigns, PvP, raids, events, and plenty of squad building across different factions, so there is always something to work toward. Yes, it still has gacha systems, but if you want one of the best mobile-friendly tactics games with real depth in the battles, Tacticus is a very strong pick. And finally, at number 1, we have Honkai, Star Rail. This is probably the most complete package on the list. It has polished turn-based combat, strong production values, memorable characters, big story updates, and a level of presentation that makes a lot of mobile games look small by comparison. What makes Star Rail hit so hard is that it does not just rely on flashy visuals. The combat actually has a solid rhythm to it. Weakness breaking team composition, timing ultimates, and planning around enemy types all give battles enough structure to stay interesting. It is not the most hardcore strategy game ever made, but it is way more thoughtful than people sometimes expect. It also helps that the game keeps moving. Major updates, new characters, events, and endgame modes give players reasons to stay invested, and that steady stream of content has played a huge role in keeping the game near the top of the genre. Now, yes, it is a gotcha game like most mobile games, but that is the only real downside to it. But if we are talking about the overall package in 2026 production quality, popularity, content, and satisfying turn based combat, Honkai, Star Rail is one of the strongest turn based mobile games you can play right now. So, yeah, turn based mobile games are doing just fine. Whether you want quick strategy sessions, deep deck building, tactical squad battles, or a big story driven RPG, there is a lot to choose from right now. Let me know in the comments which game would be your number one, and if there is a turn based mobile game you think deserved a spot on this list. And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more strategy game content.